Now, what in the Carnival is going on here? So, Carnival Cruise Line recently sent out a reminder email to passengers on an upcoming sailing when it comes to the details and intricacies of sailing with a birth certificate versus a passport. And people are freaking out in all of the interwebs on the Facebook groups and Reddit forums. You need not worry. Carnival is not stating, because a lot of people are reposting this and saying this, that Carnival is getting rid of the opportunity for people to sail using just a birth certificate. It is not true. However, we're going to go over this because I do believe this reminder is not only important for the people on the upcoming sailing, but people that are going to sail with Carnival and cruise ships as a whole. Before we continue, I do have to say that I will, for the life of me, never understand why people who are eligible to get a passport just simply don't get one. It will save you a lot of headache potentially, and at the worst case scenario, you have a second ID. You also are going to wait a little bit less when it comes to the line and the immigration process whenever you disembark the cruise ship. By the way, a little tiny morsel, a little nugget of knowledge for those of you out there that are going to say that passports, you can't get them because they take too long. And my cruise is in 3 months and I have to get my passport before that. Well, there are companies like FedEx, they do offer expedited passport service. Well, if you do qualify for that service, you can have your passport in as little as 1 week. Just food for thought. It is an option for you. The email in question revolving around this topic was sent out by Carnival yesterday in regards to a sailing over to Panama. Now, one thing about Panama, as well as other countries, foreign countries that you'd be visiting within the Western Hemisphere, are part of something known as the WHTI, which is the Western Hemisphere Travel Initiative. Typically, when visiting a lot of these Western Hemisphere destinations and sailing these itineraries, a lot of times all you would need is a birth certificate or a passport card, an enhanced driver's license, or if you don't have any of those, there are, of course, visas that you can get that will tag along with your green cards and all of those other intricacies. But when you're going to places, for example, like Panama, let's say you're sailing through the Panama Canal, or Colombia, for example, you will need a valid passport, even for infants, that are valid all the way up to 6 months, even after your initial travel has concluded. Believe it or not, there are even other situations, even if you are a US citizen traveling out of the United States, in which you would need a passport. For example, if you are leaving from one cruise port in the United States and your cruise is including in another cruise port within the United States, you'd also need a passport. So that would mean if you were sailing out of Miami, for example, there are some cruises that go to like the Panama Canal and they cut up to, let's say, Hawaii, and then they'd finish over in Seattle to then go to some place like Canada. You will, of course, need a passport in order to even complete that US to US port stop. And of course, obviously, if you are sailing out of a port that isn't within the United States, let's say you are going to Europe and you're sailing on a cruise out of Spain or Italy, you would also need a passport. But you need not worry about that either, because you'd be stopped long before that, even prior to getting on the plane in the US to go to a foreign country, before you even got to the cruise port. So you know you need a passport. So the conundrum is this: you have very important, fun people, Carnival people, people that are on Carnival's Facebook groups getting mad at other Carnival people for reposting this email that has been sent out because they say it is not specified for them, and it does cause a little bit of confusion. I could see where that could definitely be plausible and problematic, because there are people out there that already understand how things work. So the minute they hear anything about travel updates or any type of issues regarding passports or birth certificates or qualifications in order to travel, you're going to have a lot of people that are quickly up in arms asking, well, why are you reposting this? We already know this. However, I do believe that when it comes to these updates or just simply reminders in this particular case, there are a lot of new people that haven't really traveled, they haven't really cruised, and it may be important and at times viable for them to understand this information. Somebody may be booking a cruise to the Panama Canal right now, not understanding that for that specific destination and itinerary, they would need a passport. And now, because of, let's say, this email has been reposted, they now have that friendly reminder and they could potentially be saving a lot of money. Moral of the story here, when it comes to this battle of the Carnival people, well, not even a battle, they just get a little riled up in the comment section every now and then. I do hate to admit it, not really, but typically when we have these passport issues, it is normally between, let's say, Carnival, there's a passport versus the birth certificate, and this is probably going to be an argument and a conversation till the end of time. For me personally, I'll never understand, and with the exception of maybe people, again, that are not eligible to get a passport, and people that maybe are booking a cruise locally, let's say in Miami, sailing out of Miami, and maybe they don't know, I guess. But if you are able to book a flight from, let's say, I don't know, Montana over to Miami. You're able to book the cruise. You're able to book a reservation over at Mr. Sancho's and all the other add-ons, the drink package, and you can't afford a, well, at least you say you can't afford a passport. That doesn't make any sense. I hear these lies all the time, right? I can't afford a passport because there's four of us and blah blah blah. Look, it will set you back if you don't at some point, if you make the wrong move or you continue operating like that. Just go get your passport. It'll save you a lot of time. It'll save you a lot of money. It'll save you a heck of a convenience, and well, you'll do a lot better when it comes to your cruising experience. That's all I got to say, guys. Of course, let me know your thoughts on this in the comment section below. I do have another video coming up later, of course, and subscribe if you haven't already. As usual, know I love and appreciate every single one of you, and I'll see you later. Take it easy.